Alright, welcome, or croeso, as we say in Wales. Alright, the star of the show are these beautiful Welsh lamb shanks. And when we cook lamb shanks, we normally do one per person, which is rather generous. But that's how things are in Wales, guys. Other things, right, I'm going to do a sweet root mash, and I'm going to use carrot, and I'm going to use swede, or you may know it as rutabaga if you live in the United States or elsewhere. The other things are there's some potatoes, because I'm doing mashed potatoes and a sweet root mash. You're going to need an onion, that's about a small to medium sized brown onion. I've only got 2 cloves of garlic. I don't want to overpower this, and garlic isn't really a traditional Welsh ingredient, but it really goes well with this lamb, as does this rosemary, and we're going to put some rosemary in the gravy. Now, a secret ingredient I've got right at the back there is ajwain seeds, or carom seeds, which are really excellent and go really well with carrots and swede, with taproots. I think they're the seed of a primitive kind of carrot, but they really do go well with it. And I know it's not a traditional ingredient, but trust me, and you can thank me later. Okay, right, we've got some spuds, like I said, and another star of the show is this ale. This is a very popular beer in North Wales. It's Felinfoel Double Dragon, and it's got all the right characteristics to make it really good with this dish. So it's kind of malty, caramelly and sweet. Very nice indeed, not too hoppy, so it won't give off too much bitterness. Right, I think we need to get these lamb shanks in the oven to start with, because I really want to get a good seal on them, and to that end my oven is cranked up to the max, and I'm just going to put these into a casserole dish, and I'm going to bake them just with a quick rub of olive oil for about 20 minutes. Okay, so there the lamb shanks are. I've given them a rub down with extra virgin olive oil. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of salt on them and a little bit of pepper, and then I'm going to slam them in the oven as they are on superheat for about 20 minutes. And the point of that is I want to seal that meat as fast as I can to seal all the juices in. Okay, I'm going to drop a pinch, what's that, half a teaspoon of carom seeds into my little mortar. I'm going to drop in a little bit of salt to help with the grinding process, and then I'm going to give that a grind. As you grind that, you'll understand why it's good with carrot, because it's got, like, if carrot had a perfume, that's what it would smell like. It's absolutely fantastic. So remember that one, boys and girls. If you're cooking any kind of taproot, carrots, turnips, swede, use a little bit of carom, a little bit of ajwain seed. It depends where you are. You can get them mostly from Indian grocers. They will sell them. Indian or Pakistani stores will sell it. And it's a very aromatic spice. So I'm going to put that to one side and carry on with my prep. So that's my prep done. I've got my carrot and my swede, or rutabaga, in that pot, and that's just chopped up ready to go. My potato I've cut up into fairly small pieces, and that's soaking in a mixture of water and just a little tiny splash of vinegar to stop it all browning in there. My onion is completely chopped up, so that's what was that, a medium-sized brown onion, small to medium-sized brown onion, all chopped up fine. And my garlic is chopped up fine. Another thing I have is 250 mils, or about 1 American cup of lamb stock. You can use beef stock if you can't get lamb stock, or make your own up from lamb bones. That's up to you. We're just waiting now for the meat to finish searing in the oven, and then we can crack on with it. Alright, let's have a look at this. Oh yes, it's sealed up lovely. And as you see there, it started to seal up really nice. I'm going to turn my oven down now to 150 degrees Celsius. And what we'll do is we'll let that cool down a little bit before I move on to the next phase. And the reason I'm doing that is that this is Pyrex glass, and if I pour liquid into that now, it will shatter. So I need that to cool down a little bit. So I'll give it about 10 minutes. Alright, that's come down to well below boiling point. And what I want to do first is drop in all my onions. And I'll drop them mostly on the side. And then I want to get in my garlic. Again, that all goes in. I'm going to lift the lid on this lovely Vellinval beer. And I'm going to use about half that bottle, that's about 250 mils. So I'll pour that into there, little bit at a time. Beer gives such a wonderful rounded flavour to this. And the aroma is just outstanding. Right, that's about half of that. And then in goes my lamb stock. And we don't totally cover everything. And then what I want to do is just make sure all that onion and garlic is into the stock. Alright, the last thing I want to put in there is some rosemary. And I'm going to be generous with this. I'm going to put in about 4 or 5 sprigs of rosemary in there because that gives great flavour. And I'm going to put them in whole, and we can lift those out at the end of the cooking process. Now, I just need to cover that with its lid, and then we'll put that in the oven at 150 degrees Celsius for about 2 hours. Meanwhile, chef's privilege. Let's have a look at this beautiful ale. Cheers. Or as they say in Wales, good health, yakida. Oh, that is wonderful. That is absolutely wonderful. It's sweet, malty, not too hoppy. It really is a beautifully balanced beer. Absolutely gorgeous. Right, I'm looking forward to that lamb now. Okay, so we're into the last half hour of roasting time for the lamb. And I've just put in some water in here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of salt, not too much, and that now goes on to steam for about 20 minutes. So I drain the soaking water from the potatoes, and again I'm just going to salt those, a little bit of salt, and then put that on to boil for about 20 minutes. Right, the next thing I want to do is take out the lamb and see how it's doing. And that is looking famous. Right, leave the oven running for now. And there's a couple of things I want to do. First off, I'm going to pick out the rosemary and try and get it all out in one. It doesn't matter if you leave a couple of leaves in there, and you'll see why. Just pick out all those sprigs. And then it takes a little bit of skill to do this, but I'm going to use a slotted spoon and try and lift them out whole. So there you see. And I'm putting them onto this little baking tray. That one's split up a bit, hasn't it? Look. But there you go. So put that on the baking tray, and we're left with this beautiful liquor, which I'm going to turn into a gravy. First off, I'm going to put this back in the oven and bake it as it is. I'm just going to drop that in now and leave that to bake for the last 25 minutes, half an hour. Right, now we're going to do something with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it through this sieve and strain it off all those juices. And that's all that lovely beer and lamb stock. Okay, then I want to mash as much of this onion as I can through the sieve, because I'm going for max flavour. Just run that through the sieve. And be patient with this, because there's a lot of flavour stored up in this onion. Only I don't particularly want all that into my gravy for this one. I want it a little bit smooth. So once you've strained it off, I want to give it a quick taste. Oh wow, that is so gorgeous. Lammy, there's a hint of the beer there. Absolutely beautiful, sweet, delicious. Right, the only thing I need to do now is thicken that with a little bit of cornstarch or corn flour. Alright, I like to bring up things like potatoes and my vegetables up to the heat from cold. I don't like to put hot water in them to begin with, and I think I get much better results from that. I'm just going to put the lid at a slight tilt on the potatoes because I want that to boil a bit more vigorously. And I'll be bringing this pot of gravy up to the boil, and then I'll reduce it to a simmer and then add a slurry of 2 teaspoons of cornstarch mixed with some water. I mentioned earlier that I'd be using some carom seed or ajwain seed, which I've ground into a fine powder, but I will add that to my mash right at the end because I want the most aromatic punch from that. Well, you see my vegetables are steaming away nicely. I'll put a link to the Find a Butcher, Eat Welsh Lamb and Welsh Beef link in the description below this video. And then you can go to that website and find yourself a butcher that sells real top quality Welsh lamb and Welsh beef. There are links to sites all over Wales, and there's also links to sites in England, in Swindon, and also in Southampton in Solent. Okay, my stock's come up to a boil and I've turned it down to a rolling simmer. I'm now going to stir my slurry and add that in and then give it a whisk. Just keep your eye on it. As it comes back up to a simmer, you need to keep it whisking, just so you don't get lumps in it. Alright, the last thing we have to prepare is the vegetable and the potato mash. Alright, I've cooked and drained my vegetables. Here's my potatoes. The first thing I want to do is get them broken up a little bit, so I'm going to get in there with my smasher. And then I'm going to add about a tablespoon of Welsh butter to it, saving the other one for the carrot and swede. Then I'm going to go in with 2 teaspoons of creme fraiche or sour cream. So that's about a tablespoon really of creme fraiche or sour cream, and then we'll mash that in. The reason I like to use sour cream is A, it goes great with potatoes anyway, and the other reason is that it balances the sweetness of the lamb and the sauce and the sweet root mash. So I really do like it, and we give that a really good mash and do a good job of mashing this up. I like to use Morris Pipers because they're nice and floury and they mash up perfectly. and you don't get any of those waxy little blobs in your mashed potato. So just use a good floury potato. King Edwards are good as well. And my last trick is, once I've got it to this consistency, what I like to do is give it a good whip. And apparently that's an old Irish trick for making really nice, delicious, light, fluffy mashed potatoes. And that's really good. So I'm going to put that to one side, put the lid on it, and start with my sweet root mash. So there's my sweet roots. First of all, I want to smash them up again. Break them up as much as you can. And you don't need to mash this quite as smooth, because it's nice to have slightly chunky. But you'll see anyway in a minute. I really love this tool. My friend Patrick at Paddy Joe Cooking, he was using one in one of his videos, or one or more of his videos, and I liked it so much I had to go away and get one, because it's really good for that early stage of mashing things up, and it's great for breaking up mince when you're cooking mince. So I went online and bought myself one, and as you see, it's really useful. Right, into there now goes another tablespoon of nice Welsh butter, which is starting to melt, and into that goes my ajwain seed or carom. Stir that in, and then go in there with a masher. And I don't want to be too crazy about this. I want to leave a little bit of texture in there, but you'll see that. So all together with the tender lamb, the beautiful beer gravy with rosemary, the mashed potatoes, the creamy mash, and this delicious mashed carrot and swede, you've got a real Welsh winter warmer, and I'm quite happy with that, the way that looks. So I'm going to cover that until it's served. Okay, I'm stirring in about a tablespoon of cream, maybe a little bit more, into my gravy, because I want it to be velvety and luxurious. And then we'll give that a taste. Wow, that is fantastic. There's nothing I want to do to that. I don't even want to put pepper in it. That is just really bang on. Fantastic flavour. Alright, time to serve up. Okay, first on the plate goes a nice blob of mashed potato. Second on the plate goes a lovely blob of sweet root mash. On top of that goes the party piece, a beautiful Welsh lamb shank, and the whole is topped with our delicious creamy gravy. And we can put plenty of that on because there's mash. One last little flourish I like to do is a bit of nice black pepper on top, and a little sprinkling of dried or fresh parsley. I've only got dried, so we'll have to go with that. So there we have it, Welsh lamb shank with sweet root mash and mashed potatoes in a rosemary and Welsh beer gravy. Enjoy. Hey friends, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you would like to follow my channel, please subscribe. And don't forget to click the bell icon and select all to receive notifications for all my future videos. It would be great to hear from you in the comments, and I'll try to get back to as many of you as possible. You may wish to check out these titles or even help me out with a donation using the links in the description below the video. Thanks for watching.